We've been covering the Mool Mantra so far, and everything that we've covered, when we look at it at a surface level, it always feels like it's talking about the other. It's talking about some God, some external being. And as much as we can try and understand that what is being talked about isn't actually external to you, the Mool Mantra itself remains quite out there, quite distant. It talks about this oneness, it talks about it being creative energy, about a state of being fearless, about a state of being without hate, that it's self-sufficient, doesn't have any birth, doesn't have any death. It comes with the grace of the Guru. It has been true since the beginning of time, now and forever true. And as much as we think of those things as trying to relate them to us, as the Japji Sahib unfolds, we see that questions and answers start coming through, and we can see Japji Sahib as a conversation, as though questions are being asked and Guru Nanak Dev Ji is responding to those questions. So if we see the ending of that first salok talking about that permanent truth, then naturally the question then becomes, well, what about me? There's still the I. There's still, how do I relate to this? What am I supposed to do with this oneness? How do I become one with this oneness? And that's the first question that's being asked of Guru Nanak Dev Ji here. That we think we have an understanding of what this concept is, but we've also heard about certain practices of how to feel it, how to experience it, how to become one with it. And so these practices are being posed as questions to Guru Nanak Dev Ji. So Guru Nanak Dev Ji is answering specific questions around what are the common themes, the common practices that people know at the time. That how do we actually engage with this thing? How do we get rid of our understanding of what our ego is, who we are? We have the analogy of the bricks and the fortress that we've built around us. How do we get rid of all that stuff? So the common themes of the time was that you actually had to go and physically do some activities. You had to go to holy places to go and bathe yourself and wash yourself. Like somehow external cleansing was going to be the starting point to internal cleansing. So Guru Nanak Dev Ji has posed that as a question. The other kind of techniques that we hear about that are still prevalent today, and all of these things are still as relevant today, especially in Indian culture, around going to places of pilgrimage. Go there and then you will have some kirpa done on you. And we've translated these old methods and we've just replaced the venues. Where the tirath used to be done at holy rivers, now we've come to believe within ourselves that actually if you go to Darbar Sahib and you have Ishnan there, that all the other tirath, you can ignore those, but this tirath, that's the one that you have to do. For the Sikhs, this is the tirath. That's what we've now told ourselves. So this is not just about some old techniques. Even now, we feel that in order to understand this, meditation is a big part of what we need to do. And the type of meditation we think of, there's only one type that is prevalent in the world, which is sitting down and trying to quieten the mind with whatever technique. We think that quietening the mind is what needs to be done. Another technique that was around at the time was to reject the world. If the world has created your ego, if the world is the distraction, then to step away from the world is seen as the other technique. To step back, to go almost into hiding. And that's the other technique that even now we think about. When you think that you want to become spiritual in some way, you think, I have to go away for a while, I have to leave my family, I have to go on some long journey of self-discovery. I have to go to some ashram somewhere, I have to live like a yogi of some sort. And so these practices are just as prevalent today. And Guru Nanak Dev Ji has posed these as questions. Are these the way to get to what you're talking about? So Guru Nanak Dev Ji starts by answering this, the most common practices.